restaurateur Ian Kampmeyer has launched Meal It Forward, encouraging customers to purchase meals for neighbors in need. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
A day after President Trump announced new sanctions on Russia.
Okay, good morning and welcome to the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg, and I've got a whole host of folks here today. Lisa Cripps Downey. Yeah, thank you. Lisa Cripps Downey, Linda Tinsley, Dr. Sarah Gendernalik.
Hey, you did it. Good job.
It's a mouthful. I tell you that. No, all three of them are here this morning to talk to us about the Southwest Michigan Food is Health Collaborative. Is that right? Okay. All right. Everyone's here. Let's see. Everyone's got. Oh, your microphone needs to be pulled up. I'm sorry. Right. There you go. Yeah. Okay. So there you go.
All right.
Okay. Lisa, we good?
Good.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Lisa brought everyone together to the table here. Yes, you did. Tell us, what are we going to be talking about this morning?
Well, we're going to talk about the Southwest Michigan Food is Health Collaborative.
Yes.
What is it? What we're doing? And I'm going to maybe do some introduction, but Linda and Sarah, they're the experts who are at the table. See what I did there? Who are really leading the charge on this?
Yeah. Okay. All right. And this was just launched in September? Is that right? Or no?
The Food is Health Collaborative, we launched in around June.
Yeah.
Okay.
This year.
Okay.
The Nutrition Exchange, which we're very excited to talk about, just launched in September, but really our first distribution was yesterday. So.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah.
First distribution yesterday.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, that's exciting. You're bringing news here.
News.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We appreciate that. Okay. And so we'll have to line all this out because there are a lot of organizations, which is really great. This speaks to the power of community, honestly.
Absolutely.
That's actually one of the targets of the entire thing, is to bring those entities together.
Okay. And those entities being, tell us who are the major stakeholders as far as just from a broad perspective. You've got the producers, the consumers, and the people in between.
It's really about bringing local agriculture to the table, and I'll just use that pun again. We use it a lot. But it's about bringing local agriculture in connection with other hunger relief organizations to make sure that we're all working together and helping their economy, local economy, and then also to make sure we can get the food out to the people that need it the most, and how we can communicate to support one another. There's a lot going on. It's heavily supported by the Berrien Community Foundation, the Cook Plant Foundation, and others that we'll talk about. But that's really the goal, was to get everybody working together to take care of the community. Yeah,
and to take care of the community in a way with a problem, an issue, an opportunity that is present. So maybe we can talk about what the situation is currently and how we're getting at it. Good?
Yeah,
sounds great.
Okay, all right. House full. Love it.
Okay.
This is great.
It's a party.
It's a party. I'm sorry. we have coffee. Does anyone want coffee or
I
anything
brought
like
tea.
I'm good.
Water?
I
or-
brought tea.
Okay,
That is
all right.
good. Okay.
Because then I couldn't get it for a half hour, but it'd be okay.
Okay.
No, all right.
We're good.
We'll be right back. I've got
Okay.
news to get to. It's the WSJM Morning Show.
Cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
And good morning, and once again, welcome to the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. We have 45 degrees and cloudy skies in Benton Harbor right now, 47 and cloudy with windy conditions in St. Joseph, and same for South Haven. As we mentioned in the forecast, it's going to be a little bit more of that raw condition, rainy and windy, especially in the northern parts of Berrien County today. Otherwise, we're going to have partly sunny skies in the southern part of southwest Michigan. Chance of lake effect rain continues up north. High around 50 degrees today, and winds out of the west gusting up to 25 miles per hour. Do be aware that there is a slight chance of patchy frost developing late this evening. The low is only going to get around 38 degrees, but in some of the colder areas, you might experience some frost. We're going to have the same thing for Friday, patchy frost, partly sunny, and a high around 54. Some of the news from the WSJM newsroom: a worker at the Palisades nuclear power plant is recovering after falling into a radioactive cooling pool. WSJM's Andrew Green has this report.
According to NRC records, the incident happened about 9:30 a.m. when the person fell into the cavity full of water, ingesting some of it. They were decontaminated by radiation protection personnel who detected 300 counts per minute in the person's hair. They were then transported for treatment off-site. The Palisades resident inspector has been notified, and the NRC says the incident had no impact on the health and safety of the public or plant personnel. Holtec International, the owner of Palisades, sent us a statement saying the contractor was wearing all required personal protective equipment, including a life vest, which is standard when working near the pool without a barrier in place. Holtec says that radiological assessments are ongoing and are expected to confirm exposure well below regulatory and administrative dose limits. Andrew Green, WSJM News.
The nonprofit Present Pillars has found a new home in Benton Harbor. The group, which supports fathers in the community, moved out of its old center on West Main Street in August due to structural problems with the building. Communications coordinator Nick Gunn says the new Pillar Center will be at 315 East Main Street, and that's just a short distance away.
The Pillar Center is somewhere for men, somewhere for fathers to come and seek mentorship, seek leadership, and engage with the community.
He says the organization's events, including the Pillar Awards, helped secure the new location.
I believe that the community seen the need of having a Pillar Center and the need of present pillars in the community. So I feel that the community answered, and I believe that they're continuing to answer as we are still seeking more community support.
Community sessions to share ideas for the new center will be held on October 27th, November 3rd, and November 10th, all at 5 p.m. Details available on the Present Pillars Facebook page. Also in the news, one of the largest business networks in Michigan was unveiled right here in Southwest Michigan yesterday. The Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber and the Greater Niles Chamber of Commerce are joining forces to strengthen business advocacy and economic development. Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber President Arthur Havlicek says the Niles Chamber will keep its own board and brand identity while becoming part of the first ever regional structure.
What this does is it really allows local leaders who know their community best to focus on what matters most to that community, to Niles, while still benefiting from the scale and resources and reach of a larger regional organization.
Greater Niles Chamber of Commerce Board Chair Brian Van Italy said under the new arrangement, the Niles Chamber will manage events and networking, while the Regional Chamber will manage policy and development. Havlicek says Wednesday's announcement is historic.
It bridges this long-standing divide between North County and South County in Bering.
The two chambers represent nearly 1,000 members, creating one of the largest business networks now in Michigan. That's a look at some of the local news that we're covering in the WSJM newsroom. We have more to talk about. We have a whole lot of people in the studio this morning to talk about a very important issue. I'll introduce Lisa Cripps Downey, president of the Berrien Community Foundation. She's brought with her this morning also Linda Tinsley, the executive director of Meals on Wheels of Southwest Michigan, and Dr. Sarah Gender-Nolick, with the health strategies, SBG Health Strategies, and the strategic coordinator of the Food is Health Collaborative. Did I get all that correct?
You got it.
Are we all right?
Yeah.
Nailed it. Okay, we're done. No, that's it. Lisa Cripps Downey, you brought all this together. You brought this to my attention, and we've been talking about this at least for the last month, but you've been working on this for a longer time. What are we here to talk about today?
So the Southwest Michigan Food is Health Collaborative, we started, as Sarah was saying, we started really this in June is where this was kicking off. But honestly, it started farther back.
Yeah.
When we at the Berrien Community Foundation were getting more and more grant requests from food pantries, that food was getting more expensive. The need was increasing. And we created a Food for Good fund so that we could help out the pantries, thinking, was this a blip on the radar? It wasn't a blip.
Unfortunately,
it is not. It's something we need to dig into farther and really look systematically at how do we do this better, and beyond just getting more food out of there. As I started meeting with Sarah and Linda, it's getting the right food out there so that it's not just a calorie. It's about the health, the nutrition of the food that we are providing. And then when you add with that our local agriculture. We are so rich in local agriculture, right? How can we bring all of those players together to make sure that the guests at pantries and for with Linda, other food distribution sites are being provided with healthy food, healthy alternatives that we can source right here. So we are supporting our local agriculture. And that's where that all started.
Yeah.
And really, for me to look to the experts and say, what do we need to do here? And being able to bring in Linda and Sarah to have put so much together and really run with this.
Okay, excellent. No, thank you for the overview, and we'll talk about the severity of the problem here during this hour. But let's introduce some of those experts that you're talking about. Linda Tinsley, give a brief introduction of yourself, your role in this.
Yeah, so I'm a 5-year Michigander. I came from Ohio, where I was a former Head Start director. And that's where I fell in love with helping vulnerable people get empowered and be able to take care of themselves. I was also involved in an incredible network of community providers that work together to make sure nobody had gaps. And so that was something that's always been on my radar to do wherever I live. And we love Southwest Michigan. We plan to be here through retirement. So we're super excited about that. But then 2 years ago, I came to Meals on Wheels as the executive director. And we had a benefit of produce grants to get produce to seniors directly, like as a fresh packet to them. It served about 14% of the population we serve. We are serving currently about 1,040 clients in Berrien County.
Okay.
And then about another 800 in Van Buren County right now.
Wow.
Yeah, so we do about 9,000 meals a month.
Wow.
So we're busy with that. But with this fresh produce, what we saw this really healthful impact. Their perceived health was improved. They felt had dignity in their food, and that they also just felt seen by the community and connected that someone wanted to provide that for them.
Yeah.
And my thought was, as we started to hear more and more about food pantries needing more nutrient-dense food, was if we helped the vulnerable population of seniors with produce, what could we do for the entire community? Yeah. How could we get that out more? And then when we formed the collaborative, it's just been like wildfire, and it's just going very, very well. So we're going to talk more about that too. But that's where it started for me. And then it's really important that anything I'm putting out to my clients is very nutrient dense for their health. Over 50% of my clients have chronic disease, and over 50% of those people have at least 2. And so if we can use nutrition to fight chronic disease, then that's exactly what we're going to do.
Yeah. And I love that we have an abundance of that nutrition available here in Southwest
Absolutely.
Michigan, and we're making those connections. So
Yes.
thank you for doing that. Dr. Sarah Gendernalik, give us your introduction, if you would, please.
So I am a primary care physician, but I am also in public health. So
Okay.
I founded SBG Health Strategies last year to move into the public health consulting space, specifically with a focus on food as medicine initiatives. What's really exciting and what Lisa said about the need from the food pantry simultaneously across the country, but specifically in Michigan, food as medicine interventions are very much becoming part of normal conversation as to how we address chronic disease.
Yeah.
Food as medicine interventions in Michigan include produce prescriptions, medically tailored meals, healthy food packs, and medically tailored groceries. So we have been talking too about how can we bring that to Southwest Michigan? How do we build the infrastructure? How do we build the providers here that could source those products locally from our farmers and then distribute them when a physician writes a prescription for a produce prescription or medically tailored meals? How can somebody get that intervention here in the community?
Wow. That is fascinating. We're gonna peel into that as well.
Sure. Yes. So they all weave together. So
Yeah, and it goes back to the you are what you eat,
Absolutely.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And it's
Yeah.
connecting people so that they can have something to eat that you're here for today. So we appreciate that. Okay, we're gonna visit with Lisa, Linda, and Sarah. You know their titles, but we'll talk with them here in just a moment on the video live stream. We'll begin this interview in earnest right now. Here on the radio, we've got sports. It's the WSJM Morning Show.
Sports on the Michigan News Network.
It was not a great night for Detroit teams last night. First, the Red Wings.
Okay, back on the video live stream. Thank you for those introductions. That was great, and thanks for the work that you're doing here. Talk about, who can tell me about the severity of the problem? What does the problem look like here in Southwest Michigan?
Sure, I'd love to share that.
Okay.
So food insecurity here in Berrien County is quite prevalent. We know that 16%, or 1 out of 6 households, experience food insecurity. When we talk about food insecurity, we mean not being able to get enough calories consistently
Yeah.
to avoid hunger. And specifically, and for kiddos in our county, it's about 21.8%, or 1 in 5 live in households that do not have consistent access to nutrition.
Wow.
So it's quite prevalent. That is measuring food insecurity, like truly calories. If our neighbors have enough calories to avoid hunger, that's not even taken into account. Do they have enough nutritious calories to help prevent and lower the intensity of chronic disease? We estimate those numbers to be much, much higher.
Wow.
We also know that those of our neighbors that are accessing food pantries have 60% of them have at least one chronic disease. And just throughout federally, nationally, we know that 85% of healthcare spending is due to diet-driven chronic disease.
Wow.
Food insecurity absolutely has a direct relationship with chronic disease. And so we are trying to come together to figure out better solutions, community-driven solutions that can support getting more nutrient-dense foods into all of our homes, but certainly into the homes of our most vulnerable neighbors who would benefit the most.
Yeah. No, thank you for that explanation and description. How did everyone connect the dots? How did this come together? This approach?
So I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier about what we were seeing in the senior population with the program we were running.
Yeah.
And understanding, I also sit on the board for Flowers Early Learning Head Start. And so you could say I kind of work pre-cradle to rocking chair and everything in between. And so when we started to see that, and then we were, as Lisa said, they were getting a lot of different grants from different grant requests from different sources. And so I started to think through, how could we really bring people together? And so that's where it all started. And then from there, understanding that the Food as Medicine initiatives were coming, and that it was a great way for us to really fight chronic disease and improve healthcare of our community. That was another factor. And then some of the challenges that we're all facing in the nonprofit world right now.
Yeah.
How do we move forward through that versus letting it stop us? How do we find that way forward? And we really believe this is just one of those ways with more to come.
When you talk about finding our way forward through it is the stopping of federal funding in many cases.
Yes.
We have to rethink some things. We have to make sure that that we're supporting our local economy at the same time that we're feeding our neighbors in a healthy, good way.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
And the other important thing, I think, is that we are very blessed with philanthropy in this area, and it's important and it's needed, but we have to build collective efficacy where we're coming together and have systems in place and that infrastructure in place to really know how to take care of each other in this community.
Yeah. So to get at that, so we've identified the opportunity, the problem, if you will, the opportunity to help people connect more with food sources, more nutritious food sources. We've identified the players in this. So now what? What's going to happen? What is happening?
I think we should talk about what has happened, what is happening. I think Sarah would be a great job to tell us about Meet the Need and all the success we had, and then maybe talk about what happened yesterday.
Yeah, that one was fun.
Yes. So Meet the Need was our first, I think, demonstration project under the Southwest Michigan Food as Health Collaborative. And Meet the Need was just a really cool initiative that happened this summer, where we had asked local businesses that were at the Berrien County Youth Fair, businesses and individuals and families and participants that were there, if they would be willing to purchase one of the animals and donate it to this cause.
Yeah.
And then the Berrien Community Foundation would pay the processing of the animal so that we could distribute it to the food pantries.
We're gonna have to pause right there. I'm gonna bring us back on the radio.
Okay.
It's the WSJM Morning Show.
To around 38 to 40. And then for Friday, we become partly sunny, high temperatures up at 54. I'm Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
All right. When Lisa Cripps Downey, when you scheduled this interview, I thought we were going to talk about food, and instead you've brought me a whole lot of puns.
I do it again.
No, thank you very much. We're talking about a very important topic this morning, and in the studio with us is Lisa Cripps Downey, president of the Berrien Community Foundation. Linda Tinsley is here, executive director with Meals on Wheels of Southwest Michigan, and Dr. Sarah Gender-Nolick. Dr. Gender-Nolick. I'll get it. It'll roll off the tongue soon, with SBG Health Strategies. And she's also the strategic coordinator of the Food is Health Collaborative. And we've been talking on the video live stream about some of the opportunities that are here in Southwest Michigan, linking hunger relief organizations to local agriculture. And one of the pilot projects that ran over the summer, Sarah was just telling us about the Meet the Need, MEAT.
Got it.
Meet the Need is the pun.
Susie Matheny at the Berrien Community Foundation coined that name.
And
we love it.
Susan.
We love it.
Perfect.
We love it.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So our inaugural year, and we were so pleasantly surprised. There were 18 hogs that were donated from the Berrien County Youth Fair, as well as one cow. And we were able to process that meat and distribute nearly 3,000 pounds of ground products. So not bacon, like ground pork, ground beef, to 27 food pantries across the entire county.
That's amazing, because that's one of the huge expenses, if not the biggest expense, for food pantries.
Absolutely, it is.
Right, because they've got the dry goods on the shelf, which are great, and everything else, and they need part of that. But if you got to get protein into your diet,
yes.
But what we were finding is that the auction bidders were supporting the kids. They're supporting the fair.
Sure.
Sarah and I are standing in the pen at where they have the steer out there. They're willing to do this, and they were donating it back, but the meat wasn't coming back here. And so by creating this program, those bidders and those businesses that are around here were able to help our local food pantries, our local folks, to get healthy protein.
And then the combination of that of supporting the youth that are raising those animals and encouraging them to keep doing it. I mean, that's just great for growth of our agriculture industry, period.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And alongside that meat, we were really excited to distribute recipes. So heart healthy, diabetes friendly recipes that utilize pantry staples. And Easy Peasy Nutrition, one of our dietitians here in the county, was able to provide that for us. And so and we got really great response, because again, it's not only about the food itself and increasing the nutrient density of the foods that we are providing through pantries, but it's about the education and building people's skills and capacity to be able to utilize that food in a meaningful way. And that came up in a lot. I think I spent 150 hours in conversation with our food pantries and subject matter experts across the state over the summer to really understand what would be the best models to move this forward. And it kept coming up in conversation that it's not only about the food and that the pantries are having a hard time accessing produce, quality meats, low-fat dairy, and eggs. But also it's about how can we increase the educational opportunities, both for the guests and shoppers of the pantries and senior centers, but also for the staff and volunteers at those food access sites. They're doing the best that they can with their very limited resources, but how can we empower them to source and procure better products for the guests of their pantry?
So how did the pilot go over the summer?
Amazing. I mean, truly, we
good
have
results.
The 19 animals and
going to continue doing it.
We are, and because of that, we've been able to talk with more local ranchers here in Berrien County that are excited about contributing to this. So we are very much hoping that this is not a once a year just with the youth fair, although we want to continue.
Yeah, that's a big event. Yeah, sure.
But how can we keep this sustainable throughout the year?
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, and so now what? In September, there was a big announcement.
Yes,
right?
There was. Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about that. In September, a $200,000 grant from the Cook Plant Foundation funded the launch of the Nutrition Exchange of Southwest Michigan. Talk about what's the hierarchy? What's the structure of all of this, and how will that foundation grant be used, and what's happening?
They're in charge of it.
So the Nutrition Exchange is a partnership between the Southwest Michigan Food is Health Collaborative and Meals on Wheels of Southwest Michigan.
Okay.
So what we're doing with that's where we're bringing all the food pantries together and the agricultural industry to make sure that we are distributing produce out to everyone. But more importantly, we are building a network, and that's where the kind of the exchange comes in, is where we meet once a month with everyone to understand what everyone's needs are. Each individual food pantry, and then with hunger relief organizations such as Meals on Wheels, we all have different nuances to our models. So everyone's is a little bit different.
Yeah.
And we need to understand those things. We're not here to tell anybody how to run their program, but we need to understand it so that we make sure that there are no gaps or unmet support that's needed. So that's a huge part of it. And then the education that Sarah was talking about, there will be a curriculum both for staff and as well as for consumer. So we want people to understand why it's important to pick the apple over the Twinkie.
Yeah.
We want them to understand that and what that means for them. So that's part of it. How we're utilizing it for Meals on Wheels is we are taking it and putting it into our hot meals. And we now have choice frozen meals that fight chronic health conditions or medically appropriate meals, which we'll talk more about later. But and so then we're also doing farmers markets for our congregate sites so that, again, dignity of choice for our seniors as well. So that's how we're utilizing it. But these meetings we launched yesterday was our first one.
Oh.
We had 20 food pantries attend. How many pounds did we move? We physically were loading vans yesterday.
It was incredible. There were 2 Penske trucks full of produce. So
Yes.
Wow.
we were able to distribute 753-pound bags of organic apples from Moultrie Produce, as well as 364 heads of
Yes.
cauliflower, 364 heads of broccoli
Yes.
from Costanza Farms.
That's
So
great.
across all of these food pantries.
That's
And
fantastic.
I think it's important to note our other partner in this is Ashley Hacker, who owns Dad's Farms Wholesale.
Yeah.
She is aggregating all of this for us, and she is another expert, obviously, on the agricultural side. We are so happy, and she is so connected to all the farms here to really support local and to keep much as local as we can.
Yeah. And speaking about local, again, just underscoring the need, you
Yes.
mentioned that 20 food pantries were present at yesterday's event.
Yes.
Where were those 20 food pantries? What counties?
We're just focusing for the pilot year on Berrien County.
Yeah.
But it was across Berrien County.
20 food pantries in Berrien County.
And there are more. There are 20.
And
There's
there are
29
others.
food
Yeah.
pantries in Berrien County. Yeah. So so for Meet the Need, for example, we had distributed 15 pantries in North Berrien County, 7 in Central Berrien County, and 5 in South Berrien County. And that's just because that's where they're located. And so knowing that and being able to look at the landscape as it shifts with some of the cuts to SNAP and Medicaid, making sure that we know where the biggest areas of need are, especially with our food pantries, and so that we can collectively design more solutions should there be higher needs in some of these areas that don't have as much access to, like the food pantry food access points.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We're talking about a very important topic. It's about how would you encapsulate this? Hunger relief, food.
We want to build a food health ecosystem that really connects our local agriculture and frankly centers our local agricultural community as the center of community wellness. But we want to be able to bring in our healthcare institutions. As we said earlier, there is a lot of this momentum for the food as medicine initiatives. So connecting our healthcare institutions so that they can prescribe. We need to get some payers at the table so that they will reimburse here in Southwest Michigan.
Yeah.
And then again, provide nutrient density and support to our hunger relief organizations, weaving all of those things together so that quality nutrition is in the forefront of all of our community conversations, and frankly, at the forefront of our clinical conversations. We are moving beyond the focus of on the individual, behavior change on the individual. There are so much more to health outcomes and diet-driven disease health outcomes than just willpower. When we exist in a system where the marketing is heavily geared towards highly processed foods, the highly processed foods are cheap and super accessible, that system really drives all of our health in a negative direction, frankly. So really trying to understand what our food environment looks like and optimizing how we can create a systemic change that underscores the importance of produce, whole grains, nuts and seeds, low fat dairy. So,
and it's really about building the infrastructure. She talked about getting payers here to help support this work. And one of the reasons the payers aren't quite here yet, that we have learned, is that we don't have the infrastructure here in Southwest Michigan, but the Southwest Michigan Food is Health Collaborative is building the infrastructure. That's what we're doing.
Payers.
Insurance companies.
Okay.
Yeah. And
You're
so
evil insurance company.
Right.
No,
They're not evil.
No.
But they need to protect their businesses
Sure.
too. And we need to make sure that we have the right support here in Southwest Michigan.
Yeah, that makes sense. What do you need from the community?
It's a great question. We need some volunteer support to help move produce. That would be helpful.
Yeah.
No, but we also, we have that generous gift from the Cook Plant Foundation. That is year one. And this is not a one-off project. This is about building out a system for our community. So we need support beyond year one. We have 20 food pantries. There are 29 food pantries. I'm serving 9,000 meals a month.
Wow.
That's a lot. And so we really need people to want to learn more and then want to come along and support us.
Okay, we're talking about a number of issues here, including the umbrella of the Southwest Michigan Food is Health Collaborative. We'll be back on the video live stream talking more about this in just a moment. It is the WSJM Morning Show. We've got news coming up from Bloomberg, our financial news, our ABC World News update, our local news preview, and sports. It's all coming up right here.
What would you call a free account that helps you save automatically? Amazing? Incredible? Too good to be true?
Okay, back on the video live stream here. Make sure I have all the buttons pushed correctly. Food is medicine, food as medicine.
So both.
Okay.
When we
Great
say
question.
food is medicine, we're
Yeah.
typically talking about those 4 interventions that are actually prescribed by your provider: produce prescriptions, medically tailored meals, medically tailored groceries, and healthy food packs. When we talk about food as medicine, that is more of the community health based descriptor, where we're really building in our hunger relief organizations, educational opportunities in the community, things that go beyond just your physician-patient relationship to really snuggle all of these incredible organizations that have the expertise to really address food insecurity and more specifically nutritional insecurity in collaboration with one another to
building the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that so if somebody is out there listening and they're thinking, okay, well, what I eat, it looks healthy. It says it's healthy on the box.
Mm-hmm.
What should they be thinking about? Where can they go for information? How should they be shopping to bring nutrition into their lives in a better way?
Well,
Whole food.
Yes, we whole food.
Mhm.
So that's a very it's a great question, and it's what we need to really.
Because honestly, you go to the grocery store and on one side of it you have fresh produce on there, then you've got the dairy refrigerator, and then you've got the meat stuff over on the other side. The rest of the store is filled with processed stuff.
Yes.
In shelf stable processed stuff that may or may not be healthy and probably contains high fructose corn syrup. But
That's what we say in lifestyle medicine and culinary medicine. Shop the perimeter of the grocery store.
Stay on the outside.
That's where you're going to find the most. You want to consume. We like to say half of your plate should be full of vegetables and fruit. A quarter of your plate can be those complex carbs, dense carbs, your beans, etc., whole grain rice, quinoa, and then plant if you are a consumer of animals, then a quarter of your plate can be meat too. But just because you have a great half a plate of steamed broccoli and cauliflower doesn't mean you can't have a salad too. And I think that's what we just need to have more in conversation about, how there's never too many veggies on your plate. We really want to increase the fiber content of people's diets and those whole unprocessed products.
And the other thing we're really focusing on as well is cultural, like that's hard to say. Culturally related food, related food as well. We want to help people. We talk about dignity of choice, but if you have a holiday and you're used to certain meals that you've grown up with or that's part of your culture, we want to help you understand how to make those as healthy as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a bad thing if it's not a healthy. Sarah, I hear her talk about all the time, and it's really helpful to people, is if you can eat 80% of the time well, 20% of the time, let yourself have a good time,
Party!
or, yeah,
Woo!
well, you know what I'm saying? Like just enjoy yourself. But, and we want people to understand that. And the other point she made that I think is important to reiterate is it's always put back on the person. Like you're not doing it right. And that's not what this is about. This is about helping people want to make those choices that help them and giving them access to that. We tell them to make better choices, but then they don't have access to the food.
Sure.
And that's a huge problem.
Yeah. Can we talk about food deserts? Anybody want to talk about that?
Yes.
Is that part
I wanted
of this?
to circle back
go
one
ahead.
thing though,
Yep.
because Corewell Health has been a partner in this work too, and they have an incredible culinary medicine department at the Corewell Health Center for Wellness in Benton Harbor. So, so like you're saying, how do you learn more about nutrition? A lot of this is hands-on, and Corewell has done a really great job about bringing people into a teaching kitchen to really understand how food directly impacts their specific health condition and what they can do again with that cultural relevance and familiarity of traditional recipes that they've grown up with.
Yes.
They're really wonderful at adapting familiar grandma's recipe for Thanksgiving into something that is a little bit more health forward. So I would be remiss if I didn't.
No, I like
Corewell Center for Wellness does a really great job with that. I would encourage people to look at their website and to connect with that as well.
Okay.
The cooking classes.
They're awesome.
They are.
Yeah.
They're
Yes, they're awesome.
fantastic.
Yeah, I think because people, if they don't know how to make it, they might be reluctant to try it. Once you try it and you get a taste for that, it's like, oh, this does taste good if it's not slathered in mayonnaise or something like that.
I had an 86-year-old woman who tried asparagus for the first time, and her report was that she liked it. And that she was really thankful. She actually asked me to thank the funders for providing it for her because it helped her feel seen and connected to her community. Wow. But she was 86 years old trying a new food. So
asparagus for the first time.
Asparagus for the first time.
That's amazing. We have to put a pause in that. We'll come back at some point. Maybe we can talk about food deserts. But this is the WSJM Morning Show. Back in a sec. It's the WSJM Morning Show. Hello, it's the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. It's 45 degrees with clouds in Benton Harbor, 47 in St. Joseph with windy conditions and clouds as well. Windy conditions and clouds in South Haven right now where it's 46 degrees. We do expect a partly sunny forecast for parts of southwest Michigan, kind of in the southern part of southwest Michigan, lower part of Berrien County, and then up in the northern part, we're going to have a 30% chance of lake effect rain today. High around 50 degrees, winds out of the west, still 10 to 20 miles per hour. Gusting up to 25 miles per hour. Tonight's forecast, partly cloudy. There could be a stray evening shower. There is patchy frost in the forecast, developing late, a low overnight around 38 degrees. Winds still out of the northwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour, gusting to 20. But it's going to calm down tomorrow. The winds should only be on Friday about 5 to 10 miles per hour. We do expect patchy frost and a high tomorrow, Friday, about 54 degrees with partly sunny skies. Saturday morning frost is possible, partly cloudy skies, and a high around 57 degrees. We're continuing our conversation talking about the Southwest Michigan Food is Health Collaborative. It's a lot of different organizations and stakeholders addressing a very important need here in Southwest Michigan. We're talking with Lisa Cripps Downey, Linda Tinsley, Dr. Sarah Gender-Nolick, and we are talking about the Berrien Community Foundation, Meals on Wheels of Southwest Michigan, and SBG Health Strategies, and the Food is Health Collaborative. So more on that in just a moment on the video live stream. We've got to get some news, though, our latest update from ABC. It's the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg, 741. Coming up just after 8 o'clock, the next news from our WSJM newsroom. 16 people have been arrested in a human trafficking sting operation in Berrien County. The sheriff's office says on Wednesday, 15 suspects were arrested for sex exploitation-related crimes. One was taken into custody on outstanding warrants. Officials say the operation's goal was not just to make arrests, but to identify victims and connect them with help. So we'll tell you more about that story. That's coming up just after 8 o'clock. One of the largest business networks in Michigan unveiled right here in Southwest Michigan yesterday. The Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber and the Greater Niles Chamber of Commerce joining forces to strengthen business advocacy and economic development. We'll give you more on that. Also, Benton Harbor's efforts to address homelessness has received a financial boost. Detroit area MHT Housing putting up an apartment complex on Wall Street in Benton Harbor, and yesterday announcing a $15,000 donation to the city to help the unhoused. So we'll talk about those stories and more. It's all coming up right here on the WSJM Morning Show just after 8 o'clock. It's 7:42. Okay, back on the video live stream. Thank you for bringing this information forward. And there are a lot of groups involved. Just by the representatives at the table here, I can tell. And a lot of great ideas have moved forward. And I love that you had the pilot project, a successful one, and you've got other plans in place. But to enact all these great ideas, you need money. So how's that going? What's been happening, and what needs to happen going forward?
So right up front, we had funders to help just funding the initiative. How do we start putting all of the pieces together? And that was the Berrien Community Foundation, but the Frederick S. Upton Foundation. This is a real heart project for them, and also Corewell Health. So that has just been really a backbone of being able to put this together. And then with the Nutrition Exchange, having the Cook Plant Foundation grant come into play, that was incredible. That's a 1-year grant to get this program going, and being able to purchase that food. We want to purchase food from our local agriculture. It can't be sustainable as an ecosystem if we're just asking for the farmers to give us free stuff, right? And so ongoing, we're going to need to continually replenish that fund to buy food from our local farmers, to support them and to support then allowing all those pantries to get access to the kinds of foods that will help serve their clients.
Okay.
I also think it's important to note that for us, for Meals on Wheels of Southwest Michigan, this isn't something we had space to do within our operating fund. So this is an addition to that. And so that's been extremely helpful to help us increase the nutrient density of our meals.
When you talk about nutrient density, maybe explain that for those who might not be familiar.
Yeah. So again, it's really looking at the quality and the content of the calories. We want to get as many whole foods into the diet as we can.
When you say whole food, that's a piece of food I can pick up, recognize this has not been processed.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. And there is a lot of misconception. There are, canned beans, especially low salt, are a great product. There are convenience foods that can fit into a very healthy diet. But when we are looking at those ultra processed foods, things that are packaged, the things that have, 10 or more ingredients on them, and maybe you're not able to understand or pronounce some of the ingredients. Those are things that maybe we shouldn't have as heavily in our diet. We know that those ultra processed items actually increase your hunger hormone called ghrelin. That's why those who are consuming a great deal of ultra processed foods end up eating about 500 calories more per day. Wow. That is really driving us towards the obesity crisis, keeping us in the obesity crisis. Again, this is more than willpower, how much exercise you're doing when we are in a system where the convenience foods, the cheapest foods, are the ones that are making us hungrier, and frankly making us sicker.
Wow.
So
And
really-
driving chronic disease.
Driving chronic
Mhm.
disease. So,
Yep.
a lot of times our physicians are prescribing multiple medications for high blood pressure and diabetes, those conditions, which is absolutely imperative and important. But, if there was a change in the diet and the food environment specifically, would we be able to lower some of those medications, keep money in the pockets of those who would really need it the most?
Yeah. No, that's fascinating. If you've followed the WSJM morning show at all, you know that I've been watching my calories for the last, I don't know, I think it's 110, 111 days, making sure that I'm taking in about at least 1,400 calories a day, which that's a weight loss plan.
Sure.
Part of that, one of the diet programs I looked at a couple of years back and was very successful on was called the Whole Food Challenge.
Yeah.
Familiar with that? And basically it says anything that's been processed, no. Anything that has artificial sugars, no. Because everything you take into your body has an impact one way or another, either a positive nutritional impact or as you mentioned, I didn't even know food could make you hungrier.
Oh yeah.
That's
absolutely.
incredible. How
That's
devious
the food
they
that
are.
tends to be flowing through our food pantries.
Yeah.
And I think that's really the crux of this
Yes.
issue. How can we increase the nutrient value of what is available in our food pantries within the pantry's limited budgets?
Yeah.
And really feel good about the products that we are giving our most vulnerable community members. And again, we talked a little bit about funding and yes, absolutely imperative, but what can we do in terms of sustainability? We really want to demonstrate to the pantries who do have a budget to spend on food, and they do, that whether it's through Feeding America or through local retailers, can we demonstrate over this next year how much that the produce, for example, benefits their guests? Are their guests saying, I'm feeling better because of the produce that you're supplying me? Would that shift the buying patterns, if you will, of the food pantries to then make different choices in their purchasing?
Yeah.
If we can create this infrastructure with our central aggregator, we would like to be able to provide, through the Nutrition Exchange, some of that produce, but also encourage them to perhaps explore different ways that they could purchase with their limited pantry dollars.
Yeah, we've got to get back on the air here. I have questions about shelf life and stability there, so we'll talk about that in just a moment. This is the WSJM Morning Show.
Affect rain showers for the majority of the day. The showers will be off and on. High temperatures right around 50 degrees. Tonight we'll see cloudy skies and still some lake effect rain showers will drop down to around 38 to 40. And then for Friday we become partly sunny. High temperatures up at 54. I'm Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
WSJM Morning Show continues. I'm ruled by the clock. I'm sorry. We'll keep going. 7:49. I'm Ken Lundberg. Thanks for joining us on the WSJM Morning Show. We've been having a great conversation this hour. We're talking with Lisa Cripps Downey, who's the president of the Berrien Community Foundation, Linda Tinsley, executive director of Meals on Wheels of Southwest Michigan, and Dr. Sarah Gendernalik, SBG Health Strategies and strategic coordinator of the Food is Health Collaborative. We've been talking about the challenge in Southwest Michigan, 29 food pantries in Berrien County alone. And making sure that not only do those food pantries have food on the shelves to provide to those in need, but also making sure that they and those who are consuming that food are thinking about the nutrition behind it. It's all part of a huge umbrella of the Southwest Michigan Food is Health Collaborative. I love the way that this is thinking, how you're thinking about what you're doing is important for your everyday health and wellness.
Absolutely.
This is outstanding. Well, let's make this part of our Moody on the Market update. It's brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today. They are your local auto owners insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. And we talk about business updates with the Moody on the Market update. We talk about business updates, life in Southwest Michigan, and why we love it here, and interesting people you should know. And I think we fill all three buckets today. We do. You're all interesting people, and I'm glad to have met you. And then also, business updates, keeping the local farmers, the commerce going. I mean, buy local. You know, especially if we have a local need like this, buying local is important. And then also life in Southwest Michigan and why we love it here. Nothing more important to life than having that food on the table. So for those who might just be tuning in, let's give an overview again of what we're talking about. The Southwest Michigan Food is Health Collaborative. It's a lot of different players, but you've convened this, Lisa Cripps Downey, convened this for Southwest Michigan. What are the next steps? Where is this? Where is it now and where is it going?
I'm going to hand this over to Sarah.
Okay.
Because I want to make sure that we're talking, I mean, what it is bringing agriculture, our food pantries, our food distribution sites together, making sure that what we provide to the people who are accessing our food pantries is healthy, that it helps them in the long run. And also then how are we supporting our farmers? They're small businesses.
Yeah.
And they're important to our community. We are one of the major producers for the state of Michigan.
Yes. In fact, Berrien County produces the third most amount of vegetables in Michigan and the fourth most amount of fruit and in the state. So yeah, I mean, we have agricultural abundance here, but I'll tell you, over the summer when we were talking with those 29 food pantries, 4,500 households in Berrien County were accessing those pantries per month. So we have the two things happening: incredible agricultural abundance and an incredible need. How do we bridge that gap and make sure that our incredible produce is ending up at the tables of those who could benefit the most from it?
Yeah. Love that.
And something we've been able to do through this, which is really exciting, is to take that produce and working with our registered dietitian to build medically appropriate meals. So medically appropriate meals for chronic health conditions means that these meals support things such as diabetes, renal disease, hypertension. We launched those October 1. So that's really exciting for our clients. And it's something that we're working to build out for the community as an available resource if they want to order those frozen meals that are made locally, sourced locally, and provided locally. So that's something really exciting as we move into what Sarah was talking about earlier with medically tailored meals for the individual with medical needs. So we're really excited that this whole project has been able to help lead us in that direction.
And all this work is possible through the generous donation of a lot of different organizations and companies. Can we thank the funders again? Who wants to roll through that?
Absolutely. Yay.
Roll it away, Lisa.
So the Frederick S. Upton Foundation, Corewell Health have been amazing supporters of this, the Berrien Community Foundation. But then for the Nutrition Exchange, we have the Cook Plant Foundation. I think an important funder that they might not even know about. Long before this started, there was an endowment created. Terry and Mary Frantiman started an endowment that helps address food insecurity. They were so involved in food pantries. Like, they saw this coming way before the rest of us did. And it's those kinds of gifts that help us be able to address problems, recognize problems, and then be able to dig into them in our community when things happen.
Yeah. No, I love that. Well, thank you for doing the work. We appreciate you all coming together and being at the table. We'll get a couple more messages here on the radio, and we'll continue the conversation on the video live stream and prepare to wrap up. It is the WSJM Morning Show, and that's our Moody on the Market update for this hour, brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today. They are your local auto owners insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. It's 754.
Rich Fran and Tara Halsey from Insurance Management Service, your local auto owners insurance agency in St. Joseph and Niles.
Okay, all right. We're
Doing more.
oh yeah, sorry. We're in the waning moments here. Hot mic. What else do we need to cover?
Yes. So food deserts.
Yeah, food
Berrien
deserts.
County
What is a
has-
food desert?
So food desert, it's really looking at two major factors. The first is where our grocery stores and markets place, and takes into account transportation. So are these sites walkable? Are there public transportation options? And as you may know, transportation, especially public transportation, in Berrien County, transportation insecurity
Hot
is a
topic.
thing,
Yeah.
and a very hot topic. And so there are projects underway to better understand the nuance of the 16 food deserts. And again, we would love to be able to look at those maps, if you will, and see where some of our food access sites are in relationship to those food deserts, so that we can make more community-driven response plans to address those gaps in services.
So we have 16 food
16.
deserts identified. And what defines a food desert? I mean, what's the area?
It's
or
a
radius?
half a mile. It's
Okay.
a half a mile from both a transportation standpoint and a location of grocery retail.
Okay. So if you live within a half mile, inside a half mile radius, if you don't have access to transportation, or if there's no grocery store there,
Right. I mean,
that's a
absolutely
desert.
is contributing to food insecurity.
Right.
So, and we have a lot of convenience stores. So, how can we even take those models to increase the nutrient density there as well? I mean, there are a lot of solutions to be had. It's bringing everyone to the table to understand what is the need and how can we co-create together.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. What does this look like in 5 years?
In 5 years, we're going to be having SNAP access groceries and decreasing our food deserts. And then we're also going to have the ability to bring people together to cook and learn how to do that in a bigger capacity with support and sharing that with Corewell and other healthcare industries. And then also being able to provide medically tailored meals to anyone who needs them, making sure we can get that out through the community.
Is that our medically tailored meals? How cost prohibitive is that?
It's about creating meals around chronic health conditions. It can be costly, but sourced well. JA Foods is a great partner of ours, and they're helping us do that. So we're trying to keep costs consistent with what we're doing now and not increase those costs, but they do have to go up slightly, and we have to accommodate for that.
Yeah, inflation's a real thing.
Inflation is
Been
a
dealing
very
with it.
real thing. Yeah.
How's the federal government shutdown affecting any of this?
For me personally, we're funded at 5,500 meals a month. We're serving 9,000.
Okay.
So
Wow.
that's a perspective. We
So-
get a lot of support from the community. And Area Agency on Aging has been an incredible partner of ours. But that does not fill the gap. And so that's just with seniors. So now when we're talking about our other hunger relief organizations, it's an exponential growth there for need.
Okay. We're going to wrap this conversation up. I've got to get to news here in just a moment, but we've been talking with Lisa Cripps Downey, president of the Berrien Community Foundation, Linda Tinsley, executive director of Meals on Wheels of Southwest Michigan, and Dr. Sarah Gendernalik, SBG Health Strategies and strategic coordinator of the Food is Health Collaborative. For more information, where should people go?
Yes, you can go to snsmeals.org and also Sarah, it's Nutrition Exchange at snsmeals.com.
Okay.
.org.
Okay. We'll give those one more
Yeah.
time as we get back on the radio here. It's the WSJM Morning Show.
Visit McGee'sHeating.com and feel at ease with McGee's.
McGee's Heating and Air. Feel at ease with McGee's.
Feel at ease with McGee's, your local Bryant Factory authorized dealer.
From the Pat Moody Studios, this is WSJM FM Benton Harbor, St. Joseph, a product of Midwest Family Marketing and Media. Proudly serving our community. The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
We've got 20 seconds.
20 seconds.
Thank you very much, Lisa Cripps Downey, Linda Tinsley, and Dr. Sarah Gendernalik, all for coming in today. Where can people go for more information?
All right. Well, for more information, you can go to the Berrien Community Foundation website. It's berriencommunity.org. If you would like to donate, the Food for Good Fund is there, and that is part of what's helping to support this. For information on Meals on Wheels,
Go to www.snsmeals.org.
Okay. All right. It's 8 o'clock. We'll be back with
Sherry
more.
Preston. This morning, sources tell ABC that the entire east wing of the White House will be gone by this weekend. Bulldozers have.
Okay. And still on the video live stream. And for more information about SBG Health Strategies, where do we go for that?
You can go to sbghealthstrategies.com, or
Simple.
if you want to
Yeah.
learn more about the Nutrition Exchange, email us at the Nutrition Exchange Nutrition Exchange at snsmeals.org.
Okay, that concludes the interview for real this time.
For
Thank
real.
you.
Thank
you.
Thank you all. Is this
Thank
good?
you. Thank you.
Did we
This
do it?
was awesome.
Great.
Yeah,
And
this was so
Sarah's
fun.
name. By the end,
Yeah,
got
you
her
had it.
name.
You nailed it.
Just like
Several
the
times.
It's the
You got it
small
several
things, you know? All right. Thank you all. We'll see you.
Thank you.